I'm Tom. I grew up in Edinburgh, just south of Edinburgh, actually in Pennycook, and went to school there for a number of years. I then moved south to Leeds to go to university. Played a lot of cricket down there, and I've played a lot in the south as well, down in Northamptonshire. Been at Leeds for 4 years now. Studied geography, physical geography, and really enjoyed it. And I spent a year in industry in New Zealand teaching at collegiate school, which was awesome. Came back this year and I've just graduated. I was actually down in Northampton playing cricket with a few of my mates, living down there in the summer between first year and second year. I realised something was wrong, but was too stubborn, I guess, to go to the doctors and actually get it checked out. One of the boys did actually force me to go to the doctors, rather embarrassingly, from seeing me in the showers at cricket and seeing how swollen it was. So they forced me to go, and the doctor sort of said, there's nothing we can do here, go to the doctors in Leeds. At the end of Freshers Week, just went and saw the doctor and sort of thought nothing of it. And they gave me a cancer referral sheet, which was the first time that had been brought up for me. And that was tough, because that's, the stigma around the word, I guess, hit me pretty hard. About a week later, I went in for an ultrasound scan, and when I got the results of the scan a couple of hours later in the interview room, the guy said that he thought it was either a tumour or a torsion, which is where your testicle twists and can be really dangerous as well. And they basically said you need to have emergency surgery tomorrow, which was tough. I'd never had major surgery ever in my life. It was a pretty big one to take in, that I was, it was happening the next morning at 7:30. I couldn't really do anything about it. That was one of the harder phone calls I had to make to my parents, to say I'm having my testicle removed tomorrow morning. It could be cancer. They took that pretty hard, and that was a tough one. So next day had surgery, and they actually told me, I woke up from surgery, and that's when they told me that they'd done the biopsy already and they had found a tumour, and I had to go through chemo. And that's probably one of the lowest points, because I really struggled out of that, because I was drowsy and no one around me, and parents weren't there, the boys weren't there. It was just, I felt really alone in that moment. That was probably the toughest moment for me. I had 6 weeks to recover from the surgery before I was safe to start chemotherapy. A couple months of that, which was pretty grueling and pretty tough. Came out the other side, and thankfully stayed at uni through it, and still went to lectures and still sort of lived my life through it, which helped a lot. And the boys in my house helped incredibly, just to make me feel normal through it all. I was all good, physically fine, and headed out to New Zealand, had an incredible time, and really enjoyed my last year. Timeline was tough, but in many ways it helped me, because I didn't have enough time to sit and dwell on it. It just, it's happening, you're having it tomorrow, and straight into it, which, looking back on it, was good. But pretty hard hitting at the time. I wasn't so much embarrassed, I almost didn't want to accept it myself, and it felt the fewer people I told, the less I had to accept that it was happening to me. So I told the boys in my house. There were 5 of us, and we were incredibly close, and so they all knew, and they all got me through it, and my parents and my mum took it really hard, and they wanted to drive down the next day and come and see me after surgery. When they saw me, they were really shocked at how upbeat I was, which sort of got me again, because I wasn't particularly trying to be upbeat. I was just living my life how I thought I should, and the boys were helping with that, and they were taking it back, which was a real boost for me at the time. I haven't really faced a challenge like that before. I've always tried to have a positive attitude, and I think it came out through this. And as it started and people started saying how well I was doing, that's what really spurred me on to stay positive through it. I kept going to lectures through my therapy. It was really important for me, because it made me feel normal, and while I was in a lecture, although I was struggling, it made me forget what was going on outside of it. When I lost my hair at the end of the therapy, that really did hit me hard, because that was a visual. So before that, there was nothing visual that there was anything wrong with me. It was all, I felt terrible, but I didn't look terrible. I was outwardly fine, and the hair just was a real knockback, because that's a universal sign of something's going wrong. So I wore hats to uni every day, just as a sort of measure to think people may still see anyway, but it's a sort of disguise, and I look normal, and I feel normal, and I was so conscious about it that really helped. Because it had become such the norm that no one knew, and I didn't speak about it at uni, and that was just what I was comfortable with, that when I did take my hat off just to take a jumper off, just forgot, the room sort of went silent and everyone was a bit shocked, and a few people sort of going, geez Tom, what's going on there? Like, didn't know whether it was a joke or whether I'd lost a bet to shave my hair, or, I don't think everyone necessarily jumps to that straight away, but in my head I was suddenly like, this is, all the eyes are on me and everyone knows. And that was quite shocking for everyone to sort of realise that the past few months had been pretty tough for me and they had no idea. It opened a whole avenue of people asking how I was and, feeling really sorry for me, and as you do, and offering me lots of support. And the uni then, offered me a lot of support, and which was great, but it wasn't what I was after at the time. I really enjoyed the bubble that I was in with the people that knew. Don't judge a book by its cover. There's a lot going on underneath, but for me that wasn't a bad thing. That helped me, but obviously for others that can be, they do need that support and they're crying out for it but don't know how to reach out for it. I learned that I've got a lot more confidence in myself, that I am resilient and I can deal with this stuff, and I've learned how personally it works for me to deal with stuff like this, and my bubble worked, and it wasn't that it was a secret and I was holding on to that, it was just, it worked. The people who needed to know knew, and that just kept me sane and got me through it. So I think for men there is a stigma with mental health, and I think it has improved a lot in recent years, and there's a lot more coverage about it, which is really good, but there still is that, whether it's embarrassment or it's not shame, but it's difficult things to talk about. Men are, we want to be strong and we want to stand up, and we want to support others. It's hard to sort of make yourself vulnerable and get that support, and I think I was scared of being vulnerable, that I didn't like all the support that came out. I definitely needed it, and the people that were supporting me, really did get me through it. The guys that I lived with in that house in second year, that we went through such a big thing for us all, and it really was us all. It wasn't, I know I was personally going through it, but those guys are also in second year of uni having one of their best mates go through it, which is so tough for them as well. So we really did go through it as a team, and now we're so open with each other and we talk about anxiety and mental health and things all the time, which is really nice to have a close group of 5-6 guys that I really know I can depend on and turn to. And I think every guy needs that. Finding that group is really, really important. I've graduated now with a 2-1, which I'm incredibly proud of, seeing as most of my second year was sort of covered by that illness and that sort of adversity, I guess. And heading back to New Zealand, where I worked on my placement year as the director of cricket, so it's a really big step for me in my career, and it's just a real confidence boost again, that I've gone through some hard times, but now I'm out the other side, and I'm pushing forward my career, which is really exciting.